Okay, we're in First Chronicles. Um, Basically, First Chronicles and Second Chronicles is everything we've done read from the beginning of the Bible to Second Kings summed up into two books. So in chapter 1, you get the family lineage from Adam to Abraham. Then it goes from, it tells you, let's see where here am I. It says the son of Abraham, Isaac and Ishmael, and it goes through Ishmael's sons, and then Isaac's sons, and it leads down to Jacob. And then you read about Esau's sons and his princes and kings and all that. Then from Jacob down to David. Through Judah, basically. David's of the tribe of Judah, so it goes from Judah down to Jacob, and then the rest of Judah's sons. And then it talks about the sons born to David by him, and then his concubines and wives and all that. And then it goes through the genealogy of the 12 tribes of Israel, and it starts with Judah, and then goes through Simeon and Reuben, Gad, Manasseh, Levi, Issachar, Benjamin, Naphtali, Manasseh, Asher, Ephraim, Benjamin. And then it goes on their inhabitants from where they dwelt in the land. And then it gets into the family of Saul, where he came from. Then it goes to the death of Saul, where he fell on a sword and died and all that. And it's during a battle, and his armor bearers saw him die, so he fell on his sword and died also in the war. Saul died for his transgressions which he committed against the Lord, even against the word of the Lord, which he kept not, and also for asking counsel of one that had a familiar spirit to inquire of it, which is the witch of Endor, where she brought up Samuel's spirit from the grave. And then it goes up about David raising up to be king, getting Jerusalem and building a city in Jerusalem in Zion. Then it talks about the heroes of David, of the people that served him and fought for him. It goes through a lot of them, about his battles, about him bringing the ark to Jerusalem, and then Uzzah died because he looked inside of it, and then they left it at another man's house, and he prospered, and then so David brought it to Jerusalem. And it goes about his fame and his victories, his celebration for the ark and making the offerings. He desired to build a temple for God, but God told him that his son would build it for him and not David. And it goes on about his wars he was in. Then his sinful census. This is what stood out. It says, and Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number the people. Now it says Satan did it, but in 2 Samuel it just said the Lord's anger was kindled against David because he went to him, I believe. I'm trying to pull it up here. 2 Samuel. I'm going to go on back a little bit to read that verse, because that's really what kind of got me, was the fact that happened. It says, and again the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah. It says, and he moved against him. Then chapter 21 of First Chronicles, it says, and Satan stood up and got him to move against him. So I just got back into that, and then the plague was stayed. Then David's preparations of the temple and talking to Solomon. Solomon was anointed king. He organized the Levites and set them for their duties. Divided the Levites into 24 groups and their duties, and assigned the musicians and the porters to write things, and assigning the treasurers, and delegating magistrates, I guess, to be over people. Then he had silver leaders, and it mentions them, the silver leaders of his time. Then his last instruction to Solomon and the people, and basically gave him the patterns of what he was wanting to do to the temple, and basically tell him to not forsake the Lord, but follow him with his heart and stuff, and his offerings and his worship. So Solomon raises up. David dies. And then it ends with David's death and Solomon being king. Man, it's quick and easy for First Chronicles. I mean, it gets deeper. I mean, some of it's more in depth of who's over what and who's doing what during that time of David and his rise to the kingdom and all that, and Solomon. And then it goes, let's say, through the genealogies of all the children of Israel and all the tribes. And that's First Chronicles, pretty much. So it's basically just history and records, I guess. All right.